push the walls as well. So right now you can see the walls, we can directly push the box here. So we are going to implement this mechanic, and also we are going to implement the wall checking mechanic so the player cannot go behind these walls, right? So let's get started. So as you can see guys, in the previous video I have made a tutorial on how to implement this basic simple grid based character controller, and right now you can see this is a very simple wall here, and these are also wall here, and our player can easily move inside these walls, which we don't want, and we also want to implement the box mechanic. So let's get started and see how we can do that. The first step is we need to go onto our player node, and we need to add a raycast here, and in this raycast we need to adjust few things. So make sure this raycast should be centered around the player, and also by default it should be down. So now let's go here, and what we are going to do here in the move function, so let me make it a little bit zoom here. So what we are going to do first is basically we just need to set this function, this tween animation inside an animation function, and we are going to check if the ray is not colliding, and if it is not colliding then we can move to that tile. So that's the simple check we are going to perform. First, we also need to ray to check on the direction that we are going to move. Okay, so how we can do that? So we just need to get the ray first. So for that, let's get the ray here, and let's make it as ray, and we are going to check. So if ray dot is colliding, basically it should be it. If ray is not colliding, then what we are going to do, we are going to move the player. So this is the code that basically moves the player, so we are going to put it here. So that's it. Now what we are going to do here is basically update the ray in the direction that we are going to move. So for that, what we need to do, we need to get the ray, and we are going to get the target position of the ray, and we are going to set the target position to the position that we are going to move. And here we also want to update the ray every time we press any key, so that the ray also moves in the direction that we are going to move. So if I run this demo, you will be able to see the thing here. So you can see this is a ray. So if I press up, you can see the ray is going up. If I press right, you can see the ray is moving towards right. So you can see we are going to check the ray, we are going to check. So you can see right now uh, we cannot move towards wall because the ray is colliding. So it is very easy to implement this basic wall mechanic. So we are not going to collide to these walls or collide inside these walls. Now what we are going to do here is if we want to implement the box mechanic, so what we are going to do, we need a box here. So first we will create a box first. So in order to create the box, I am going to use the character body 2D here, which is a box. And in this character body 2D, we are going to use a sprite 2D node, and we are going to use a collision shape 2D. And in the sprite 2D node, I am going to use a simple Godot icon. So we are just going to use that. And let me put this box in a tile so we can see and adjust the size of the sprite. And now what we need to do is we need to add a collision shape to it. So we can add a collision shape. So we got our simple box here, and now what we need to do is we basically need to move this box. So you can see this is a box, and we cannot move this box right now. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to create some code or script that will move the box. So for that, let's add a script to it. So there are first thing that we need to do is we need to go into the node section, and we need to go into this group section, and then we need to click on plus icon, and we need to set this as a box. And this is so what is a box? A box is a pushable object. So make sure you set this as global. After setting it as global, you can see our box is added in a group. Now what we need to do is we need to add a script to our box. So we are going to use box.gd, and we are creating a script. Now the first thing that we can do is we are going to get the direction, as well as we got the direction from the player. So the box script is similar to the player script. So I'm copying the full player script and pasting it here. Now the things that we are going to remove is unhandled input, that we don't need any input here. And the second thing is we are going to add a raycast to our box as well. So in order to add a raycast similar to our player, we are going to copy this raycast from the player and attach it to the box. So now what we need to do is basically we need to update some move code. So this is pretty simple and easy. So we are going to do is if um, raycast is not colliding, then we are basically going to move towards it. So instead of this, we are going to also return the true here, and we are also going to return false. So if we can move, it will return true, and if we cannot move, it will return false. So and we are also going to change the name as can move. So this function will basically check first that if the ray is not colliding. If it is not colliding, then move towards the direction, same as we did in the player script. Now what we need to do is we need to come back to our player script, and we need to go here. So if ray is not colliding, then we can directly move to that tile, and if it is colliding, that means we are going to use else here. And if it is colliding, first we need to get the collider. So we are going to get the collider. So we are going to get the collider by using raycast.getCollider, and if collider is box, so for that we need to check is in group, and we are going to supply it box. So if the collider is box, what we are going to do, we are going to move towards the position. No, so we are going to check if we can move toward. So if collider can move, okay, so if collider can move, then we are going to move towards it, and we are also going to move the box. We just need to pass the direction, and we are going to move towards it as well. So this should be the code here. That's it, guys. So this will work. So now if I run the scene here, you will be able to see. So you can see we can move to our neighboring tiles which are empty. So each time we are moving, the ray is checking. So there is nothing on it, so we can move. Now if we go in the wall, you can see there is a wall, and this wall is not pushable object or a box. So we cannot move here, right? But if we go towards a box, so we are basically colliding with a box, which is obviously a pushable object. So if we try to move here, you can see the box is also moving, and we are also moving. So you can see. So this is a pretty simple check that we can perform here, as you can see. So that's it, guys. So if you like this video, please do subscribe, and let me just disable the collision shape. And also let's add the animation here. So in order to play the animation every time you move, you just need to add this animation here, which is this whole chunk of code here. And we also need to do that in the box here. So we also need to play the box animation. So we are going to do that here as well. So animation. Now if we run this scene here, not okay, not this, let's run the scene here. You can see we are also playing the animation, and the box animation is not playing, but when you try to uh, push the box along the walls, the animation is playing. So that's it guys. If you like this video, hope you subscribe, and yeah, thanks for watching.